From my perspective, the best NEDs that I see are those who sort of engage with the executive team, ask lots of questions, keep them honest, make sure that they are abreast of all the, making sure they're attending all the board meetings, making sure they're aware of, I suppose, the specific challenges in the industry and the challenges the company itself faces.
When as a company, we're thinking, great, we're going to start using AI. Unlike all of IT previously, when you start to use this, the outcome is not guaranteed. So if we expect 100% accuracy, reliability, these generative models do not always achieve this. So it is difficult. And also just the process of building it. So how long will it take? How much will it cost? And even if you use off-the-shelf tooling, even then it's like you're not entirely sure how well it will work and what adaptation, customization, work in preparing the data, etc. So that's a bit of a question and should be looked at.
The truth of the matter is nobody knows what good looks like until the FCA says so. So that's one thing I'll put out. But one thing I do draw comfort from is what I've been drafting for one of my clients compared to what I've been reviewing from some of the other more substantial clients is consistency. We're all seeming to be pulling together things in a similar way. So one thing the FCA wouldn't be able to say is that if we're all doing the same thing, we're all wrong. It would be more, if we're all doing the same thing and the FCA is not happy with it, they probably have to revisit the messaging that they put out.
On the public front, I think maybe there is more from what I've gathered. There's more formality in some of the European boards than the American boards. I would say the American boards are typically fairly casual. They follow a strict agenda. However, the discussions tend to be much more free-flowing and more open. The US board members tend to think of themselves as being very independent, and they think of themselves as being the boss of the CEO. That is not that clear in Europe, is my sense.
Strong social impact is remaining at the heart of what the credit union's trying to do. So it's not about stopping lending to poorer credit risks, but it's about doing it in a sensible way and rather broadening into segments that the credit union probably hasn't operated in the past.
We do reverse mentoring for our clients, but also within our space, because actually there is a lot that we can learn from Gen Z and there's things that they can learn for us. So we manage the expectations at the start in terms of this is what you are expected to deliver on. It's not here's a to-do list. It's these are your responsibilities. That's what you're expected to deliver on. And that's what you will be required to update on. And then when we're working with clients who are at a senior level, it's also around being very direct with them in terms of helping them to understand this new generation are coming in, both in terms of how they're spoken to, some of the language that is used that could be misinterpreted.
Listen to and encourage positive emotions. Think about your engagement and feedback structure. Relationships. How are relationships formed? How do you build on them? What's the quality of the relationships? Is it transactional? Is it friendly? How do people feel in the organisation?
Those that are government or semi-government, and we need to be clear, in this part of the world, that counts for a very, very large number of businesses. We do have businesses that are on the stock markets, whether it's a Tadawul in Saudi, whether it's ADX or the Dubai Stock Exchange. But the difference here is, even though a lot of these companies are listed, certainly the banks, it doesn't look and feel the same as it does in Europe. So a lot of the banks are listed, but they still have very, very chunky private shareholders. Those chunky private shareholders tend to have board control.
And I think always going back to what's the objective, what is the goal, what is the purpose, what's the mission, is a good place to start, because everything should follow from that. And everything in the organization should be aligned to that, whether it be processes, culture, org design, etc. And that's why that first step is, what is the change and why is it needed? Because if you can get agreement upon that, then you can have honest debate about how you should achieve it.